Hello everybody, I'm Hannah and welcome to Bookshelvish. Today we're going to be talking about every single book I read in the month of February, which I realize we're a bit late, but this is still about February. Alright, so first off, I took an impromptu break during March from this channel, and that is because first I was on vacation to Mexico, and then secondly, I got a pretty bad lumbar sprain in my back and couldn't walk or like move, work, do anything for like several weeks. So it is now March 27th when I'm filming this. So we're back. Yeah. So anyway, if you've been to one of these before, you know that I usually like to kick off monthly wrap-ups with some stats. So we're gonna pop right into this. This was a pretty low reading month for me, February. I read 12 books, and I'm gonna throw some stats up here so you can see the graphics. Most of these are from the story graph. My moods, we had mostly adventurous, tense, emotional, dark, mysterious, reflective, and lighthearted. So that sounds about right for what I like to read. For pace, I had 8% slow and 92% medium. This is a weird layout for me. Usually I'm reading more fast-paced and medium and almost no slow books. Looking at this, I guess that sort of makes sense. Page number, we had a lot of chunky books in the month of February. I had only 17%, 300 pages or less, 42% were 300 to 499 pages, and 42% 500 plus. So that means almost half of my books were over 500 pages long, and usually quite a bit longer than that, which we'll talk about. Fiction versus nonfiction, I had 92% fiction, 1 nonfiction. Genres, fantasy and romance led the pack as they always do with 8 books. We had literary at 3, young adult at 2, and dystopian, classics, religion, philosophy, mystery, and historical all at 1 each. Format. I honestly think that I'm gonna move away from announcing what format I read it in because I feel like I've been reading so much tandem with like audio and the print book in front of me, and I historically have just been marking those as physical reads, but I don't know that I like that system, and I feel like it's kind of arbitrary how you read something, so I don't know that I even want to like track that, whatever. And then star ratings, my average rating was a 4.17, which is pretty freaking good. For 4 and 5 star books, we had 5 each, and then I had 1 2-star and 1 3-star. Rating wise, this was really pretty good. I think that's it as far as stats. So let's jump into how we went ahead to rate these. Normally I go through my books in the order of which I read them, tell you a little bit about my experience reading them. I'm gonna be honest, I normally film these much closer to the end of the month. Now we're almost at the end of March, and I feel like I sometimes don't even remember what I read in March, much less what I read back in February. So we're gonna do our best. This may be a shorter wrap up than usual. I'm injured, so you have to feel bad for me. First up, I am ready to upset some people. This first book I gave a whopping 2 stars to. It's not that it's a bad book, it's that it was a bad book to me. Loved Fourth Wing, did not love Iron Flame, and this book is Onyx Storm. And to be totally honest with you, I think I told people this as I was finishing up reading this. I actually think I liked Onyx Storm better than Iron Flame, but I rated it lower because I feel like my tastes have changed since I read Iron Flame. I did not enjoy this one. I felt like we were just running all over the place for various quests. Everyone was yelling at each other, mad. That thing happened where I feel like sometimes authors make the characters just like think about something and realize stuff, and I'm like, okay, great. I'm so glad that you put that together. How the frick was I supposed to as the reader? And so that was a frustrating reading experience for me. I think it was entirely too long, and I just think that I don't like this series. I really liked Fourth Wing, and I kind of wish we had left it at Fourth Wing. So that was Onyx Storm. I gave it 2 stars. I'm so sorry. Next up, we've got a 5-star read, and that is Dawn of the North by Demi Winters. This is the 3rd in the Ashen series, and this is such a good quality Viking Norse mythology inspired romantasy. This is the 3rd book. There are a lot of different couples that we're following at this point, and I honestly couldn't tell you which one I like best. I love them all, and I think that's really telling because we start book 1 with only 1 POV, and then we move into more, and now we're in even more. And I just can't wait for the next installment of the series. I feel like I can't really tell you much more than that because it is the third book. What I will say is you should read Hekla's novella, Roots of Darkness, in between Kingdom of Claw and Dawn of the North, because you're going to be very confused what is going on with Hekla in this one if you don't have that context. But yes, I highly recommend this series, especially if like romantasy maybe has you in a rut, because it did for me for a long time. And I feel like this series really pulled me out of it and reminded me why I love the genre so much. I would say it leans much more fantasy than a lot of romantasies do. And they're long. It's a commitment to read these books, but it is so worth it. That's Dawn of the North by Demi Winters. Gave it 5 stars. Okay, next up, I read this book from the library. I think there is actually a copy in my little free library right now, but it wasn't me that put it there. I'm about to make people upset with this one too. This is Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. Perhaps you've heard of it. Really, the problem with this book is that it's not a book for me, and I tried to make it one by reading it because I was like, it's a classic. It's important that I read it. I've never enjoyed a book with like dreary gothic vibes where like there's not really romance, there's just a bunch of toxic characters with horrible family relationships ruining everyone's lives to try to torment each other because they're not together. It's like, you guys deserve each other, just be together at that point. Like, who cares? They're both incredibly selfish people. You kind of see how the trauma gets perpetuated generationally after one of them dies. And it's just, it wasn't a fun time. I didn't enjoy myself. However, I do recognize that it is an important book. I did see the movie. I liked the movie. I don't really think the movie, like, I think if you just saw the movie that you didn't also absolve yourself of ever having to read the book because they're not the same story. But should you read the book? Maybe not. There's a lot happier books you could read, and I'm all about that. I like it when there's romance and people falling in love and caring about each other, and this felt like people falling out of love and tormenting each other constantly and everybody else around them. Not my preferred book. But I love it for you if you like it. Next up, let's talk about another favorite. Probably my favorite of the month. I think this book will be in my top 10 of the year for sure. This is Beneath by Ariel Sullivan. Well, even when I'm filming this book has been released. It came out March 24th. This is the first in a trilogy, but it is the second book that's in this universe that Ariel Sullivan's creating. The first book is Conform. Beneath's trilogy takes place 200 years before Conform, so we're technically going back in time and reading a prequel. This book was so good. If you liked Silverleaf, which I have read now in March after I read this book, I think you'll really like this one. The characters are so great. The plot is amazing. You really care about the characters. The world is so good. Basically, this takes place in a bunker, like underground bunker, after a nuclear war has basically decimated the planet as we know it. And so the people that have made it to this bunker have kind of formed this society that's underground, and they have a couple of different divisions that everybody has jobs in. One of those is the Force, which are basically the people who are more or less like the military, who are in charge of going above the surface and trying to locate other people, other supplies, resources that they can use, etc. The people in the bunker are running out of supplies. So our girl Sasha is a healer originally, but she's kind of forced to join the Force so that she can be more or less a medic for this elite team of soldiers that's going out to find help. It's blurbed by Sarah J. Maas. It is one of the first books that Jenna Bush Hager's imprint, Thousand Voices, came out with. And they sent me an ARC, which was so sweet with this nice full card. I love this one so much. I don't even want to tell you too much because that would spoil it. But do think you could read this without having read Conform, but I do recommend reading Conform first because if you like one, you'll like the other. And I would say this is more like dystopian romance than fantasy, especially this book. Sasha's fierce. She is getting it done. She does not take anyone's crap, and I love that about her. The boy in this, Hayes, our MMC, he is dreamy as well. Is his name Hayes? No, I'm forgetting. His name's Tristan, but his last name's Hayes, so I was kind of right. He's the commander of the Force unit that she joins. I can't wait for the sequel to this book, and I will be rereading this one. I can tell you that much. That is Beneath by Ariel Sullivan. Next up, we had my nonfiction for the month, which is Crazy Love by Francis Chan. I love Francis Chan. I think he's an excellent speaker. If you are a Christian who grew up in the 2010s, you will know who Francis Chan is. I mostly like this book. I do have a little bit of a theological difference in opinion with what I took from this book, which is basically that you should be selling all of your possessions 100% of the time to give to the poor. He mentions that he sold his own house and downsized probably like 80 different times in this book. That's fine if that's something that you're called to do and want to do. But I don't think that that's like the primary message we should be taking from the New Testament. So it's my only holdup with it. I don't even know if that's what he meant to say. That's just what I took from it, and I didn't like it. But the rest of this book is great, and it's talking about radical love that Jesus had and continues to have for his people. So, and how we should live in light of that. That's Crazy Love by Francis Chan. I will be keeping this one and probably rereading it at some point in the future, but I really enjoyed. Next up, we've got A Clash of Kings by George R. R. Martin. This is book 3. Am I being stupid? Book 2. Yeah, that would make sense because book 3 is in my March pile. This is book 2 in the A Song of Ice and Fire series, otherwise known as the Game of Thrones series. Game of Thrones is just the name of the first book. It's not the name of the series because that's A Song of Ice and Fire. Anyway, I really enjoyed this book. I think I liked it even more than book 1. I feel like the pacing's so good. You're really diving into character development. I think this would be a harder book for me to follow if I hadn't seen the show already, because you can kind of track who the characters are based on what happens with the show. The show does deviate from the plot in a couple pretty significant ways starting in this book. Book 1, it pretty much follows it to a T. Yeah, in this one it does deviate somewhat, but I still think it's very much worth reading these. George R. R. Martin really knows what he's doing. He's a fantastic author. He better finish the series before he croaks, or I'll freak out. Yeah, so anyway, you should read these. These are the new covers, and I think they're so beautiful, so beautiful. I gave this one 5 stars. I don't know if I said that already. Next up, we have a book that's been on my TBR for forever. This is Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I really enjoyed this book. I know there's a lot of people that don't like it. I think it might be my favorite Taylor Jenkins Reid book, which also is not a very popular opinion. I did really enjoy this one. I gave it 4 stars. Again, that's lower rated than some other Taylor Jenkins Reid books I've read, but I think my taste has changed, and I think if I were to reread those books, they would not be 5 stars either. But yes, I think partially because this book is set in Malibu, and I have lived in California pretty much my whole life, there was a lot of elements that were just very nostalgic for me and loved that aspect of it, and I think I felt more of a connection to it having grown up in the ocean, surfing, all that. I really love this one. I will say there is a lot of infidelity, so if that's something that's triggering to you, this book will probably not be your favorite. Next, I've got another book that's been on my TBR for literally since like 2013, so that's a lot of years. 13 years. Yes, this is Mr. Penumbra's 24-hour bookstore. I would say this is very much like San Francisco National Treasure with bookworms. The tone is really fun. Mr. Penumbra is like this mysterious bookstore owner figure. You're following our main character, Clay, who's kind of trying to figure out what the heck is going on. When I say National Treasure, I don't mean that it has like a breakneck thriller kind of pace, because it doesn't, but you are very much unwinding this mystery, and there's a hint of magical realism, which is cool. I don't know. I think if I had read this book when it first got recommended to me when I was a junior in high school, that I would have liked it a lot more then. Now, I think it's just not really a book that I think I would have picked up if I didn't already own it. It's cute. I think if you think that it sounds like it'll be for you, that you'll really enjoy it. And I gave that one 4 stars. Next up, I had 2 rereads this month. First one is Outlander by Diana Gabaldon. I absolutely love Outlander. I love this book. I listened to it while I physically read it this time. When I had read it previously, I just physically read it, and it took me a very long time to read the whole book. And so I think listening to it while reading it was the way to go for me, and I really enjoyed it. This is about our FMC protagonist, Claire, who is a World War II nurse. Immediately after World War II, she's on her honeymoon with her husband, who she's barely seen for years because of the war, and they're in Scotland, and she comes across the Craignadan, which is a circle of stones, standing stones, touches one, falls back in time to 1743, right before the Jacobite Rebellion in the Scottish Highlands. She meets this man who is like probably the most hunky MMC that you could ever find. He's such a sweetheart, but he's such a manly man, Jamie Fraser, and they fall in love, obviously. And I don't remember why I thought this, but I thought the ending was completely different than it actually was, which I'm so grateful for. And I can't wait to jump into Dragonfly and Amber, which I have not read, but I did do this with a book club, their Neurotically Reading book club. She has this is run by Nicole. She has a Patreon that we've been reading along with it. We took a break for a couple of months, so I think Dragonfly and Amber starts in the next month or 2. So I'm very excited for that, and it really helped me appreciate the book, I think, so much more. I gave this 5 stars, if that wasn't clear. Next, I've got another reread for you, which is The Dagger and the Flame. I pretty much reread this. I just listened to it so that I could remember what the heck was going on, so that I could read The Rebel and the Rose, which is the sequel. And I read The Rebel and the Rose in March, so you'll be hearing about that in a little bit. I just loved this book so much. I think I read it at exactly the right time last year. I read it for the first time in April 2025 and just got totally swept away by it. I just fell in love. This is about 2 rival kind of gangs, the Cloaks, who are thieves, and the Daggers, who are assassins. One of our assassins is basically tasked to assassinate our FMC, our girl Serafina. He doesn't do that. Instead, they fall in love. It's got just such good vibes to it. 6 of Crows, Throne of Glass, a little bit of Ninth House. It's so good. A highly underrated book series. I will say, I didn't like The Rebel and the Rose as much, but that's not its fault. Yeah, that's what I got for you on The Dagger and the Flame. But I have talked about this before because, again, reread. So you can go back to my April 2025 wrap up if you want to hear more. All right, next up, we've got another 4-star read. This is We Who Will Die by Stacia Stark. I just finished recording a podcast episode today where we read this for our book club pick for March. So if you want more of my thoughts and Bree's thoughts, you should go watch that. It's chapter chats. You can watch this on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever else you listen to podcasts. We Who Will Die is sort of a take on Vampire Diaries if it were in like the Roman Empire. I thought it was really fun, but I had a lot of problems with it. It's a really entertaining book, but there's so much going on, so many characters to keep track of, and I felt like a lot of random subplots that got added that didn't really have a point, which was frustrating. That being said, if you like love triangles and vampires and romantasy in general, and you don't mind a couple of things that you gotta kind of just ignore to have a good time, this could be a good book for you. This is the Fairy Loot version, so obviously it's gorgeous. This art, I really like the naked cover too. So I won't go into a ton of detail on that because you can go see my thoughts elsewhere, but that is We Who Will Die by Stacia Stark. Final book. This is Thorn Season by Kira Azar. I have to be so honest, I'm looking at this right now and I know I liked it. I think I gave it 4 stars and I barely remember a single thing. So hold please, and I'm going to refresh myself. The summary is barely even bringing it back to me. But I do know that I binged this all in like one day on audio plus a little bit in print. I gave it 4 stars. I said in my review that it was mostly a 3, but the end was a stunning 5 stars. This story will be for you if you liked Grey from A Curse So Dark and Lonely and Maven from Red Queen. Probably no one besides me likes Maven, but I thought he was awesome. He's very much the villain though. Like not in like a he's so hot, he's the villain, but like he's literally murdering people. So tells you what I'm into. There was like a debutante season. This is so pretty too, the naked cover, called The Rose Season, and our girl is like in it. Prince is falling for her. She's a wielder, but no one knows she's a wielder. Oh, it's coming back to me. I'm visualizing this scene where she's like running for her life in the castle hallway. Okay, yes, I did enjoy this one. I'm gonna probably have to reread this one at some point because I truly don't remember anything about it, but that's what you get when you wait too long to do your wrap-ups. So anyway, Thorn Season by Kira Azar was really good. This is the Fairy Loot book. I think you should read it if you're a romantasy girl and if you like love triangles, because there is one in here. Oh, you know what? It is more coming back to me. So she's like supposed to be competing for the king's hand or prince's hand, one of those. And then there's another neighboring dignitary from another kingdom who like they have obvious sexual tension. And then it turns out that he's actually like the prince of that neighboring place. He's also a wielder. Wielders are outlawed in her kingdom, but not in that kingdom. He wants her to run away with him, but she won't because she has a duty. And then she gets found out, and then, you know, her betrothed goes kind of crazy, but he's still kind of attractive. I don't know. But yes, this is coming back to me. I did enjoy it. If you binge books, you should take more notes than I did so that you remember them later. That's Thorn Season by Kira Azar. And that's everything that I read in the month of February. I don't know that it's smart for me to try to pick up all of these and put them all in frame at once like I usually do at the end of these. I guess we're trying. Anyway, so here we go. That's as good as we're gonna get. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you come again soon. Probably next up, I assume, will be my April TBR and then probably my March wrap up, which I've been reading a lot of books because I haven't been able to walk. So that'll be a long wrap up. I currently have read like 19 books already and we're not even done with the month yet. Anyway, thanks so much for watching and I'll see you next time.